Hello friends, it is Mina and welcome to another episode on Nemina TD. In this space, we talk a lot about being a practitioner, being a magic worker. We talk about just being better in our relationships, being better at work, as a human, as an energy worker, some of those things. So if that is something that you are also interested in, then welcome. In today's video, I wanted to talk about mastering your magic and what it means to truly master your magical practice. I have 5 tips, 5 points of conversation that I'm going to bring up in this space today. So if there are other aspects outside of these 5 points that you feel really helped you to master your magic in the past, then of course I always invite you to add those down in that comment section below. So the first tip to master your magic is to keep your compass pointed true. And what I mean by that is there are so many different energies and distractions and ways for us to be every which way. If we are unsure of our path, if we are unsure of our direction and our focus, then we will never master our magic. We may be a jack of all trades. We may have a lot of information and random topics. We may be able to present a facade of authority in metaphysical events, but we will never truly be a master of our magic if we are so easily distracted and unfocused. One of the ways that we could keep our compass pointed true is through the act of meditation, ritual, connecting to our higher selves, connecting in alpha space in order to help keep that pathway true. By moments of stillness, reflection, presence, intuition, connecting with our spirit guides and guardians, you can't see my cat playing down there. We can keep our compass pointed true because we will recalibrate in those moments and we will remember, this is my purpose. This is my path, this particular aspect. Now, that doesn't mean don't ever expand your knowledge in different realms, but it could even just be in the event of keeping your compass pointed true as far as how you are spending your time. That could be part of it. If there is so many things in your life, tasks, responsibilities, adulting, obligations, that your practice just always gets pushed to the back burner, then that could be a way that your compass is not pointed true because your priorities are not making themselves a pillar in your day-to-day. So that is absolutely a way that we can work on keeping our compass pointed true by making sure. Hello? What? This could also be, it kind of bleeds into our second point actually, which is to be consistent. In the magical spaces, these are typical parts of our lives for the most of us that are solo missions. There's typically not somebody coming behind you saying, hey, what are you doing for the full moon this month? Or, hey, how many times did you meditate this week? Do you want to make candles together? Like, having communities, if you do have some where you do have more of that accountability community aspect, it helps it to be easier to be consistent. But unfortunately, the amount of effort and energy that the majority of the population actually gives outside of just the basics with work and home isn't much. So, I mean, if I were to meditate once for the month, I'm still doing better than a lot of other people. But that is not the standards that I have for myself. And that is not me showing up in a consistent way. If we want to truly master our magic, we have to choose what consistency looks like, and we have to devote ourselves towards being that, being consistent with what good looks like in our magic practice. Does that mean, I want to have so many hours a week or a month that I am reading material? I want to have so many meditative or psychic development sessions that I am developing my skills. I want to have so many events a quarter that I am seeking to network and meet other people in the space. I'm being intentional. I am being consistent. I am showing myself, my guides, my higher self, whatever energies that I'm working with, that I am serious about my dedication to this practice, to my path. And consistency is key for that. And that bleeds into the third point, which is don't compare yourself to others. Don't compete with others. There are shadows within the magical witchy community where certain people go through these witch war things. I imagine that this might be the same as many other communities where, you typically have a competitive nature, or, you have two businesses in a relatively small town for that culture, and so they're competing with each other for customers and for clientele. And I do believe that in the space of so much capacity online, having two brick and mortar stores that both have online businesses, that really shouldn't be an issue. But it's very easy as we begin to embark in magical community space. Naturally, we want to engage in other people's videos. We want to engage in their conversations and their posts. But a lot of people across the years, they really like to, and rightly so, share their amazing things. And it can really be an unfavorable opportunity for us to turn inward and give ourselves a slap of unworthiness, Look at this person with their amazing altar and tools. I'm nowhere near that. I'm not doing those things. I should just give up, I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be like them. My guy, my girl. No competing with others. Objects do not equal wisdom. They do not equal power. They equal a nice pocketbook, maybe. And that's it. Don't compete with others. Don't compare to others. Compete with yourself. Compare yourself to who you were last week, last year, last month. As you embark on what mastering your magic looks like, look at how far you've come. Or look at how quickly you can get back into it if you have had a dry spell within your practice, because all of the things that you have learned along the way just make jumping back in that much easier. You don't have the doubt and the questions and the basic misunderstanding of fundamentals that you've got to work through. Maybe you've already gone through the reprogramming from religion to a spiritual mindset. That's something that I had to do. It took me quite a while. Point number 4 that I wanted to make is to expand your mind and what's possible. Depending on how you grew up, what were the beliefs, the mindsets, what did people say or discourage if there was magical conversation, mystical, paranormal conversation about, those all became beliefs. And in beliefs, we became habits and personalities that have closed off, blocked, stifled certain psychic centers. As we start to focus on mastering our magic, the consistent practice of questioning your habits and beliefs, expanding your mind, and opening yourself up to possibilities that you have never encountered before is going to help you do this. I spoke about in my last video how I've been reading books lately about quantum physics. I personally am at a space in my life that I really enjoy reading books about quantum physics because unfortunately in this culture, in society, if we have scientific conversations around something, they make them seem more valid. In the space of quantum physics, they are talking about things that we've spoken about in magical practice for thousands of years, but they're finally starting to be able to prove them scientifically, like how manifestation works or how shifting mindset works. You know, from understanding what limiting thoughts and patterns we've had to starting to think, do, and be. And this is going to bleed into point number 5, which is the path of manifestation. These go together. We learn something new, take some time to meditate about it, get used to it, be curious about it, expand your mind with the possibilities of it. But so often, so many of us get stuck in this learning phase. I've spoken about this in previous videos. It's easier to read the books than it is to read the books and then go and do the meditations and do the practices and spend quite a bit of time feeling like a failure as we try to open ourselves up to, you know, this new energy or being or deity. And then we start getting a connection. Was that real or am I just crazy now? And I have no one to talk to about these things, so now I'm just feeling like I'm losing my mind, scared, putting it away. That's how quickly it can self-spiral. But if we learn, then we do. And as we do, we bring a lot of self-help into that. You know, this is why I really like to bridge, like, what does business success, personal success, self-help, all of these things kind of mix in the cauldron of magic, right? We're going to self-soothe. I know I'm not crazy. I know I have a solid mind. I trust myself. I'm safe. I'm protected. It's okay for me to expand my mind. It's okay for me to access more. I'm ready. I'm ready to see. One of the things that I've been starting to focus on, because I've always had like this fear around actually perceiving spirits with my human senses, because of horror movies, of course. My reframing of that has become, I'm ready to see whimsical only, you know, like show me all the things, but make it whimsical. Whimsical or nothing. Okay. I don't want it to look scary, but whimsical. Yes. So that's what I'm starting to do as I start to expand my openness to perceive them in a more tangible reality. We learn, then we do, and then we become. The learning and the doing is the mind, heart, and soul. Well, it's the mind and heart that becomes the soul, that becomes the manifestation, that becomes the being of the thing, the being a master of your magic. Now, in this conversation, there was nowhere in there that said, you know, you have to have 24 candles, you know, or you have to have 100 crystals, or, you know, you have to be this, or it has to look like this, or it has to be within this tradition, or, you know, all of those nuances within some traditional reads can be really fun, you know, within certain spaces, but they're not imperative. And it goes into the conversation of allowing your magic to evolve, because our magic is meant to evolve. How we connect, how we celebrate, how we nurture and hold space for others, for ourselves, for nature, for the animals, for the spirits, all of those things can evolve. There can be beauty in the routine of previous systems and traditions, and it really can add to the accumulated intentional power of that space. But in the energy of expansion, curiosity, and being willing to evolve, you will become a more open channeler to bring in what we need to know for the future. So these are just very broad but super important pillars that can help you become a master of your magic. Like I said, if there's anything else that you would like to add to this conversation, that comment section is at your disposal to share any additional tips that you have in this space. Any questions that you have, any conversations you would like us to hold space for, any of those things. Any additional information is going to be down in that description box. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that way you can stay up to date with future videos as they come out. This is Mina. Thank you so much for holding space with this conversation with me today. Stay wild and spooky, but most of all, stay magical. I will see you next time. Until then, take care.